Okay, so while others are joining in, let us start. So first thing today we will do is the ending of your normalization. So only one topic is left, that is the lossless decomposition that is left. Yes, those who are present, please give attendance. Meanwhile, I'm just starting with the studies. Okay. So attendance format is same, your enrollment number, name, stream section, roll number. Okay. So those who are present, please continue giving your attendance. Please give the attendance only once. Okay. So first thing today we will do is we will wrap up with normalization. Only the last thing that is left is the lossless decomposition. Now, after that, we will do MySQL. First, I will run some MySQL queries. That is the hands-on I will do. And I will show you a deep PPT on which I have jotted down the more or less important points of SQL queries, these and others. So I will just show you. And about the PPT, so more or less everyone is asking me of the PPT. So I will post the PPT. So what I'm planning is once things are done, then I will post it together. Because I have to also recollect all the PPTs and then post, right? So they're just in some haphazard manner. So I will just make a zip and I will post. Okay. In the meantime, while we are doing some practice exercise hands-on, you also do that. Fine. So
recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, so some unexpected problems were occurring. The Zoom has just stopped working. I hope again I'm audible to all of you. Please let me know. So I just got disconnected. I don't know how. Some problem has occurred. Am I audible to all of you? Okay. Okay, so let us start. Okay, so we were discussing on the lossless decomposition. Now see, up to 4NF we have already discussed. Now we need to discuss about the last one, that is the 5NF. Now 5NF is not much asked question, but though as it there in our curriculum, so we will just revise it once. For a particular table relation to be in 5NF, it needs to satisfy two conditions. One is it must be in 4NF. Another is the decomposition that you are doing that must be lossless. Right? So two conditions we need to satisfy. Now up to 4NF, we have studied till the multi-valued attribute, the multi-valued dependencies. Now in 5NF, the thing is just extended towards the lossless decomposition. Now see, when a particular relation, if we are trying to do normalization, we call it as a lossless decomposition. If suppose there is a relation R, now when you are trying to normalize, what you are doing, we are breaking up the table into, suppose, two component tables R1 and R2. Now, when you are breaking up the tables into R1 and R2, from the database, you are just erasing R, right? R is just getting deleted. It is having two component tables, R1 and R2. Now, again, we have the concept of foreign key. That means what? We will be again trying to join the R1 and R2 to get some data aligned. Like suppose the employee and department. If I want to map that which employee is working in which department, then I have to join those two tables. This concept we already have because we have studied the relational algebra. Now, what is lossless decomposition? If I try to join R1 and R2 back, then I need to get my R as it is. So this is a very, very common sense that no attribute must be lost in your decomposition. No row will be lost in your decomposition. No extra row will be added in your decomposition. So these are very common sense. So when we are trying to find out these common sense that how to do the decomposition, we have found three rules that if we follow these three rules, then our decomposition, we call it as lossless, right? So what are the rules that we need to follow to state that a table is, the table decomposition or the normalization is lossless? The first one is the attribute set of R1 union the attribute set of R2 must be equals to the attribute set of R. This is the first rule. So let us take an example and understand. Suppose I have a table R as A, B, C, D. 4 attributes. Attribute means the columns, right? So this is suppose my R. Now, here suppose I have the data 1, 2, A, B, P, Q, and X, Y. Now, when you divide it to R1, suppose R1 is having A, B, right? So 1, 2, A, B. And you are decomposing it to another component table R2, which is suppose having D. Right? So D is having X, Y. Now see, the first condition that I have is if I take the union of the attributes of R1 and R2, I must get all the attributes of R back. But here in the case, you see R1 is having AB, that's the first two columns, first two attributes, and R2 is having D, the last attribute, right? So if this is my scenario, if you do R1 into R2, right, R1 into R2, why I am writing? Because R1 natural join, R2 I cannot do. There is no common named attribute, so I cannot do natural join. So I can do just R1 into R2. So even if I do this, my columns will be A, B, and D, right? My column will be A, B, and D. So what about C? Where is the C gone? C was present in my original table. So where is C gone? C is not present. So what I am not getting? I am not getting the schema of R. I am not getting the schema of R back, right? So this particular one defines that you must satisfy rule number 1 to get your R back when you are joining your component tables, right? When you are joining your component tables back, you must get your original table. Okay, so one student is saying that no sound is coming. So am I audible? I think sound is sound is okay. So one student has just raised a concern that sound is not coming. Is the sound okay? Okay, fine, thank you. So sound is fine. Please check your device audio. Right now there is no problem. Initially it was having some problem. Okay, so this is the first rule. Now what about the second rule? The second rule is the attribute set of R1 intersection attribute set of R2 must not be null. What it means? The attribute set of R1 and the attribute set of R2. Here, if you do an intersection, it is equals to null. There is no common attribute. So what this second point means? What this second point means? If I divide the table into two parts, A and B, in R1, suppose I have 1, 2, A and B. In R2, I am having C and D. Right? P, Q, X, Y. Fine. So this particular one, if I divide the R into these particular two tables, R1 and R2, then it means that it is satisfying the criteria number 1. That is, all the attributes are present in your component tables. All the attributes are present in your component tables. Fine. Now, if this is my situation and I want to do R1 into R2, so how it will follow? This is what? This is your Cartesian product, right? So what will happen? 1A will be taken multiplied to Px, 1A will be taken multiplied to Qy. 2b will be taken multiplied to px, 2b will be taken multiplied to qy. So this will be my resultant table. If I want to join it back, I cannot do natural join because there is no common attribute. I can do only cross join or Cartesian product. So I have done that. Now you see this is your ultimate result when you join back. What was your original table? 1a px, 2b qy. 1a px and 2b qy. So these two rows that you are getting as your result, even if you are following your rule number 1, you are satisfying rule number 1, but then also you are getting 2 extra tuples. Now see, what is this 2 extra tuples? Now you can generally say that there are extra tuples means there is no data loss, there is data gain, but it is not data gain, it is data loss. Why? If I apply a condition that when b equals to a, small a, what is the value of c? Here you see b equals to a is appearing twice. So I cannot say what is the value of c. C can be p, c can be q. But in your original table, for a value of a in b column, my c is p. Right? So here I can justify that if b is equals to small a, then c is equals to small p. But when you are joining back the tables, you see a is occurring twice. So I cannot be sure of what is the value of c. Whether it is p, whether it is q, I am not sure. Right? So in this case, we call this situation as data loss, not data gain. Extra tuple does not define data gain. It can define or it can lead to data loss. Right? So what is my point number 2? My point number 2 is the attribute set of R1 intersection attribute set of R2 must not be equals to 5. That means there should be some common attributes. There should be some common attributes, right? So if you take a common attribute means what? Suppose A and B is present here and here you say A, C and D. Here if you say A, C and D, then A is your common attribute. So based on the mapping of A, you can do the multiplication. That is, you can apply natural join if you have a common attribute. What is a natural join and what is a Cartesian product? In a Cartesian product, every row of one table is taken and multiplied to the other table, right? And what is natural join? If there is a common named attribute, then no condition is required. The common named attribute will be matched and accordingly the result will be shown. Okay. So this is your second point. There must be a common attribute. Now the third point is the common attribute that you have. That means this intersection must be functionally determining either all variables of R1 or the common attribute must functionally determine all attributes of R2. So this arrow sign means it is a functional dependency. So the common attribute that you have, suppose X, either X will be determining all the attributes of R1. That means X is a key in R1 or X must functionally determine every one of R2. That is, X is a key of R2. So either X has to be a key in R1 or X has to be a key in R2. Now remember the definition of foreign key. Understand the definition of foreign key. What is foreign key? If there is a common attribute between two tables and the common attribute is a primary key of one table determining all other keys of the other table, all other attributes, sorry, of the other table, then it is a foreign key. Suppose I have an employee table having employee ID, employee name, and employee department, and I have a department table where I have department ID and department name. Right? So this one is the foreign key. This is the common attribute based on which we will do the joining. Now this must be a primary key of this table. Or else what? Suppose department here is 1, 2, and 3. It's a primary key, so unique. So 1 means CS, 2 means EC, and 3 means suppose electrical. Okay. Now if suppose I have, it is not a primary key, that means it can have repetition. So again 2 means suppose mechanical. So when in the employee table I will define some employee with department number 2, which department that employee works in, EC or mechanical, does not have any proper sense. Right? Suppose I say that Rahul is an employee who is working in department number 2. But if the department table is not having department as its primary key, then 2 can be repeating itself. Suppose 2 is EC, 2 is mechanical. So how it will be ambiguous? Rahul is working where? In EC or in mechanical? We cannot say. So department or the joining one, the joining key, the foreign key must be primary key of one table. Right? Now see, one problem I am finding when we are conducting the mock interview. I'm not sure whether the students who attend the mock interview are present here or not, that when you are writing DBMS, we are asking very simple question. What is a candidate key? What is the difference between candidate and primary key? Why normalization is required? What is the constraint to be an attribute to be a foreign key? These type of basic questions you are not able to answer with example. So what is the point of studying then? You must understand everything with example. You are, suppose some students are saying, I want to join four tables. First, you learn to join how 2 tables are being joined. What is the difference between cross join and natural join? First, you understand those. Then you join 4, 5 tables. I don't have any problem. Right? So please understand the fundamentals. Please understand the basics. Right? So what is the problem here? We are dealing with 5NF. I'm just repeating once whatever we have discussed till now. What is 5NF? A table to be defined in 5NF, we have to satisfy 2 conditions. One is the table must be in 4NF. Another, the decomposition, the normalization that you are doing in 5NF, it must be lossless. Right? It must be lossless. So 4NF, we already know that there should not occur any multi-value dependency. Now, what is the constraint to be lossless? If you have one parent table, suppose R is your parent, R1 and R2 are your child tables or component tables, whatever you say. Now, when you are joining back R1 and R2 to gain R, right, you have to satisfy 3 rules to be lossless. The first rule is all the attributes of R1 and all the attributes of R2 union should give you all the attributes of R, the original table. Right? So there must not be any data loss in the form of attributes, that are columns. Attribute means columns, right? Second, even if all the data, all the attributes are present in the component tables, there must be a common attribute based on which we can do the joining, or else there are multiple extra rows getting generated. If there is no common attribute, that is the intersection of the 2 component table is equals to 5, then some extra tuples are getting generated. Extra tuples are getting generated, right? So the extra tuple generation may lead to data loss or ambiguity, right? So here I have given you the example that if you don't have a common attribute and you are trying to join them, the only option for you is using cross join, right? So in cross join, what happens? One row of one table is taken and it is being multiplied to all the rows of the other table, right? Similarly, the work goes on and hence some extra tuples are getting generated. Okay. Now, so the third point will be, even if you have a common attribute, the common attribute must behave like a foreign key. What is a foreign key? If an attribute has to be defined as the joining point or the joining key, the joining attribute or the foreign key attribute, then it must be a key in any one of the tables, right? So if it has to be a key in any one of the tables, then what is the definition? The common attribute must determine all other attributes of R1 either. So it is the key of R1 table, or else it must be the key of R2 table. It must be the key of R2 table. Okay. So this is your these are your three rules by which you can define whether your joining is lossless or not. Whether your joining is lossless or not. Fine. So this is it all about normalization. Fine. So a table, if it is given to you, first you will start checking from the lowest form of normalization. 1NF, generally 1NF is always satisfied, and if the table data are not given, you cannot justify 1NF because 1NF is having very simple rules that multiple values are not allowed in a single cell. The attribute names must be unique. These are the few rules. Now, so we start checking from 2NF. We assume that all tables are in 1NF. We start checking from 2NF. In 2NF, what is the rule of 2NF? What is the rule of 2NF? Who can tell me? Write it in the chat box. What is the rule of 2NF? It must satisfy 1NF, that we all know. Along with that, what is the other criteria? There must not be any partial dependency. Yes, there must not be any partial dependency. So what is a partial dependency? If a part of a primary key or a candidate key, that means a prime attribute trying to determine a non-prime attribute single-handedly. So the total key is not a part of your primary key or candidate key is trying to determine a non-prime attribute single-handedly. We call that as the partial dependency. So if there is partial dependency, the table is not in 2NF. If the table is in 2NF, we can go for 3NF. That is 2NF plus no transitive dependency. No transitive dependency. Transitive dependency means X to Y, Y to Z. This must not be there, right? So another rule is either you check the LHS of the FDs are super key, or the RHS can be a prime attribute. This, if you are able to satisfy for all the FDs given, then it is in 3NF. It is satisfying 3NF, right? Next one is your 3.5NF or BCNF. 3.5NF or BCNF. What is the criteria? It is the stricter version of 3NF because 3NF plus, the only criteria is the left hand side of the FDs have to be, the left hand side of the FDs have to be key, have to be super key. The left hand side of the FD has to be a super key, right? This is your 3NF, sorry, BCNF. Next is 4NF. 4NF means it must be in BCNF, plus there should not be any multi-valued dependency, right? Multi-valued dependency. So there must be three. Multi-value dependency means there must be three columns, and for one value of A, B, C, for the three columns, suppose, then for one value of A, there must be multiple values of B, multiple values of C. That must be get rid of. That is your multi-valued dependency, right? Next one, last one that we have discussed today, that is the 5NF normal form, 4NF plus lossless decomposition. The decomposition that you are doing must be lossless. If so, then we can say that it is having fifth normal form, right? So this is all about the revision of your normalization, right? So I have done, means I have taken all type of examples to justify whether, if you take a table, whether it is in 4NF, whether it is in 5NF, so on and so forth, right? So now what you can do, you can just do practice. Fine. So you take problems and you just do practice so that you can understand that where your problem lies. Because see, only attending the class will not help you. You have to do practice enough in order to like find out where exactly your problem or doubt or whatever is lying, right? Okay, so next what we will do is we will start doing some hands-on on MySQL. We will start doing some hands-on on MySQL. Okay. Okay, so one query I have got is, ma'am, is the 5 in NF is the last one? Yes, more or less after 5 NF, you don't have any, like anything much, right? Okay, any more question? Example, because I have already explained enough of example. If you have any problem that which one you have to study or which one you have to like prepare, that much you can ask. If you have any doubt, please ask me. If you have any doubts, please ask, or else we will be next proceeding towards the MySQL part. কিছু প্রশ্ন থাকলে করে নাও. If you have any question, please ask. If I won't get any access database from the company, then which CMD means? The question is not clear. Which access to any personal database? For working means I'm not getting your question. Can you give me just means exact problem that what you want to do? Okay, so another question I have got is the multi-valued dependency. Multi-valued, can you please unmute me? Okay. Problem for 5NF can be anyone, like any example you take, you try to like justify whether you are means having lossless dependency or not. That can be an example. Example means any exercise you can do. Okay, so
Hello, ma'am.
yes, ask your question.
Ma'am, I was asked from the mock interview that if the company won't grant the access for using database to all, then which command you will use for the working purpose?
See, for accessing any database, if the database is personal, then the access will be your MySQL, then your host name, then your password. So they must give you the host name and the password for you to access. For any company, means something that is on your local host or on the server. But for your personal database, if you want to access, then you will use the use command, use your database name. If it does not have any password, and you are already in the path, then you will use the use command. And if it is some other database that you want to access, then first you have to enter or set the path. For that, you have to use that MySQL minus u, that is for your own user. If it is some other username, you have to give the username and then your password. So password you must have, username and password you must have, or else you cannot access the database, right? Okay, so that's all. Now we will do the hands-on on the MySQL. Okay, so first thing that we will do is I will just show you some of the like basic commands and working. I will also show you the stored procedure and triggers, that how to work on them, but on very basic level, because in the questions, like in the interview questions or somewhere, you will not be asked to run the code directly. You will be asked on concepts, right? So everything I will show, the update, modify, everything I will show, but everything that I will show is just based on your uh, basis. I will create a database. Let us see how much we can do. Okay, so first I will set the path. তোমরা তো attendance দিয়েই যাচ্ছ, you are just going on giving attendance and attendance. I'm not sure how much it will be considered. Anyways, your time of logging and log out is more or less being entertained. Okay, 1 second. Yes, you can work on anyone. Like there are some command difference, query, the like syntax difference between MySQL and Oracle. So already my machine is so much in pain, so I'm not installing Oracle. I'm just showing it in MySQL. There are some syntax difference in MySQL, Oracle, MongoDB, those things. So I am using XAMPP server. If you want, you can use Apache also if you are using Oracle, and connecting it to your any of your codes like Java or anything, right? So not a problem. So I'm first setting the path. Let me just quickly do that. Now I already know, if you want, you can do a dir, that is, all these are directory. Program file is a directory, MySQL is a directory. So in which one you have to enter, you can just do that by writing dir, right? So that one you can do, and you can check and then you can enter, right? Then your server you have to enter. So MySQL server to enter into the bin. Right. So after I enter into the bin, now to the person who was asking about the access of database, you must first set the path, right? Then you have to give the username and password of the database that you want to access. Like to get the MySQL prompt, first you have to give the username and password. So MySQL. So I will be working on root. I don't have any password. So see, I have got my MySQL prompt, right? So the first thing that we will check whenever you are working from the scratch, I am showing. So I will show you everything: create table, update table, delete, drop, truncate, modify, alter, the aggregate functions, joining, everything I will show. So with examples, right? So some people may say that I already know all this. So for them, you can keep your knowledge up to you. But as we are going through your mock interviews and also some labs, we are finding that you know like approximately not even 20% of the total thing, right? So you are making mistakes. So let us just start. Now, first thing that you will do is you will find out that whether the database you want to work with is present or not. For that, the command is what databases are already present. So you can see these many databases are present. So suppose I don't want to work with all this. I want to work with employee database. Create database keyword, then the name of the database. Again, attendance, and attendance. I don't know who will deal with all this attendance. Then whether your thing is created or not, see employee is created, right? Next is I have to use the database. So use, then database name. So you can see database changed, right? Next is what? You have to create some tables in the database. So suppose create table, then table name. Then suppose your emp underscore id int. Suppose I want this to be not null. I want to set this at the primary key. So I have stated that it is not null. emp name. What is a varchar? Who can answer? What is the varchar? Who can answer? Write it in the chat box. What is a varchar? Don't write varchar is variable character. I already know that. What is the purpose of varchar? Write it in the chat box. Suppose primary key bracket id, not id, employee. Right? So I forgot to give the semicolon. Semicolon is mandatory. So they are just prompting. I have given the semicolon and they are saying that query is fine. don't take extra space. Not only characters, within the double quotes or single quotes, whatever you use based on your platform that you are using, Varchar will allow you multiple type of data to be stored. That is, if your address you are storing 123 Newtown Road, that you can store as Varchar, right? And the limitation that we are providing, that 100 or 50 or something, that will be your length of the data that you are using, right? Again, one more thing that you have is not null. Not null means you can specify that if it is if you want that particular field must have a value every time, then it must be not null. If you define any particular field as the primary key, one field or more than one field, suppose employee ID comma name, if you write, then also that can be your primary key, right? So primary key must not have any repetition. Right? Fine. So first table is employee. First table is employee. Now the second table that we have Varchar 2 we use in Oracle. Varchar 2 is mostly used in Oracle, right? Create table. Next table I am creating because I cannot work with one table, right? So create table, suppose works EMP name, company name, suppose I'm not defining any primary key, that is also. Next, the company table. And suppose a table for the managers. This is a very common example you will find in books also, but I'll just run some sample queries to make you understand how it works. Now, after you create all the tables, how you will find out how to check the schema? Describe. This is the schema of the table, right? And what is the difference? These are your data. So right now I have not inserted anything, so the data is in empty set, right? And also you can see here that my XAMPP server is up. So before you start, you have to use your you have to up your XAMPP server, right? Okay, so it is in the taskbar, so you cannot see. Fine. So XAMPP or Apache, whatever you are using, you have to just up them. Fine. So next is, suppose Now I want to uh, insert some values. Suppose I want to insert some values, because without inserting I cannot progress. So I want to insert some values. So insert into employee. What are the fields? ID, name, street, city, primary, seat and city. Next one is suppose 67. Suppose these four I have just written. So you can see this is your thing. Fine. Now if suppose you want to enter with 55, suppose you entered the data of Rahul. Suppose something Bangalore. It is giving you error. Why? If I want to enter a data using 55, why it is giving me an error? Anyone in the chat box? Why using 55 it is giving me error? I have also mentioned because of which attribute it is giving me error. Tell me why? Because it is, yes, it is a primary key. So primary key cannot be duplicate, right? Primary key cannot be duplicate. Fine. So after this, let us insert some data into your next table. Suppose which is your next table? Suppose company, right? So insert into company values. It is having the name of the company and the company name only, I believe. 1 second, let me just check. Company name and city name, okay. Suppose these are my 4 companies that I have inserted. Okay. So just let us see whether right. Next is work. Insert into works values. What is your works schema? The name of the employee. Suppose Ram. Then your company. Then your salary. Okay, suppose before doing that, let us add one more thing in works, that is a column. I want to add a column as the name of the role name, right? Role name. So how I will do that? I will use alter table command, alter table name, add the name of the column, the description of the column, and the position. Suppose after company name, right? So what was my works call works table? What was my works table you see here? Employee name, company name, and salary. So after company name, here I want to insert the role, right? So what I can do here, after, before or after, or between also you can use. Here after company name, I am just working using this, right? So here you can see the role worker has inserted after the company, right? Now let us insert some data. Insert into works values employee name. Suppose Ram, PCS, system engineer, salary of Nagesh, okay. So next one is, who else we had? Ram done, Nagesh done, then Amit and Sham. Next, suppose Sham. Right. So this is suppose your works table. So select star from works. Right. Next is into managers. So insert into managers values. Ram is having some Suppose manager as Rahul, right? Next, suppose these two, okay? So I'm not extending. If required, I will extend it later. Fine. Now let us suppose I want to change the table name. Suppose I want to change the name of the table. So how to do that? I will use the rename keyword. I will use the rename keyword. So there, no, in MySQL it is not required. In some in online engines you need to use them. So syntax, as I have told, syntax more or less can be different, but the concepts of alter, modify, those things are same. So alter table name, rename to, suppose if I do that, fine. So see here, the employee table name has been changed to employees. How I am checking that? I am using the show tables command. Okay, show tables command. Fine. So like this, you can do different type of modifications and so on. Column name changing also you can do. So those things you can do. Okay. Now let us suppose do some queries. Suppose I want that starting one from a simple one. Suppose I want to find out that how many or which employees are working in the Infosys company, right? So how I can do that? Which table I will be using? I will be using that table where my employee name and company name are mapped. Which table is that? My works table. So simple query, select employee name from works where company name sorry, this should be EMP. Right? So only one person is there, so that is being shown, right? Now the second one, find the, and first you can note the question or you can understand. Suppose find the name and the cities of the employees who are working in Infosys. Name and city. So for name and city, which table you require? From works table, you cannot get the city, right? For the works table, you cannot get the city. So which tables do you require? In the employee table, you have the employee name and city. In the company table, you have the company name and city. In the works table, you have the employee name and the company name, right? So name of the employee and city of the employee, right? name of the employee and city of the employee. So if you require that, so what type of query you will write? Select what you require, name of the employee and city, right? So you can write employees.employee name, comma, employees.city from employees. I'm just using normal comma. I'm not using anything like your cross join or anything like that. Means natural join or any keyword I'm not using. I'm just using the comma, right? Where employees dot, oh, sorry, this should be EMP name. Wait, the cursor is not behaving properly. Employees dot city from employees comma works where employees dot emp name equals to work dot emp name, and where is the company in the works table? Works dot company name equals to in the work, sorry, it should be works. Right, so you can see here what was the mistake. The name of the table was wrong. Work is not the table, works is your table. Fine. So from the table employee name comma city from employees, will that work? Where you will apply the condition, the company name Infosys. In the employee table, in the employees table rather, we do not have the company name as defined. So for company name, I have to include the works table. For the company name, I have to include the works table. Okay. And why I'm using employees.emp name, employees.city? Because in the work table also we have emp name, right? So from which table it will fetch? It will fetch from the original table, that is the employees table, right? I hope that is okay. Fine. Now the next one. The employees, you have to find the name of the employees who live in the same cities as the companies for which they work. Their cities must be compared to the company's city for which they work, right? So here employee table has to be considered for employee name, works table has to be considered for company fetching, and company city has to be fetched from the company table. So in company table you have company name and company city, right? So how you will write? Select from company, three tables where employees dot equals to name and by this employee name. Now company dot company name equals to works dot company name. You are joining works and company, and last, when three tables are joined, then employees dot city equals to company dot city. Right? So see here, Ram and Nagesh. Now how this has come? Let us check. No, we will check it here only. How to check whether it is correct or not? Select star from employees. So see here, Ram Kolkata, Sham Pune, Nagesh Bangalore, Amit Kolkata. Select star from words. Ram in TCS, Nagesh in Infi, Amit in Cognizant, and Sham in Cognizant, right? TCS is in Kolkata, Cognizant Chennai, Capgemini Pune, and Infosys Bangalore. So what is happening? Ram is in Kolkata. Ram works in TCS. TCS is in Kolkata. Understand it very well. Ram is in Kolkata. Ram is residing in Kolkata. Ram works in TCS. TCS is in Kolkata. That means Ram works in the same city as the company for which it is working for. TCS is in Kolkata and Ram is also in Kolkata. So Ram will be in your answer. So see, Ram is there. Now see Sham. Sham is residing in Pune. Sham is working in Cognizant and Cognizant is in Chennai. So Sham in Pune and Cognizant is Chennai. So Sham will not come in your answer. Fine. Next one. Nagesh. Nagesh is working. Nagesh is residing in Bangalore. Nagesh is working in Infosys. Infosys is in Bangalore. So Nagesh belongs to Bangalore, and Infosys, the company for which he is working, that also belongs in Bangalore. That means what? Nagesh will be in your answer. So see, Nagesh is there. Next, Amit. Amit works in Kolkata. Amit is in Cognizant. Cognizant is in Chennai. So Amit belongs to Kolkata, but the company for which Amit is working, that is Cognizant, that is present in Chennai. That means this will not be in your answer. So who is in your answer? Ram and Nagesh. Is it clear? Is it clear? Or should I again repeat it? বুঝতে পারছো? The company in which the employee, understand the question first. The employee is working in a company and the employee is residing in a city. The question is, the employee is residing in a city and the employee working for a company. The company is also in the same city. Those name of employees I require. So if I belong to Kolkata and I am working in, suppose UEM is in Kolkata. So I am working in Kolkata. So my name will be there in my answer. Right? This is your question. Fine. So how to do the mapping? Your employee table is having employee name and employee city. Done. Your works table is having employee name and company name. And the company table is having company name and company city. So employee to works first will be joined based on the employee name. Works will be joined to the company based on the company name. Right? After this, your employee city will be matched to the company's city. Right? So what query I have written? See, employee name I have fetched from works because works is my linking table, right? Employee and company is being linked with works. Fine. So these are the three tables I have joined: works, employee, and company, where employees dot employee name equals to works dot employee name. This is your first criteria for joining employee and works. Second criteria, company dot company name and works dot company name, joining works and company. Right? When these two are joined, that means three tables are already joined based on some criteria. So inner join has already happened. Now, employee.city equals to company.city. This is your last criteria for matching whether your employee's company and the working company's city are same or not. Fine. So why Nagesh and Ram are coming in your answer? Ram is residing in Kolkata. Ram's company is TCS, which is also in Kolkata, right? Nagesh is residing in Bangalore. Nagesh's company is Infosys. Infosys is in Bangalore. So Nagesh also belongs to Bangalore, right? Is it clear? Is it clear now? বুঝতে পারছো? I am just putting comma and doing join. That means it is simply cross join, but I am implementing some like operations like your employee name x dot employee name equals to y dot employee name. So it is becoming inner join. Okay. So suppose joining you are having doubts, right? So let me just select star works, comma, employees, comma, works. What type of join is this? What type of join is this? Say it in the chat box. If I write select star from employees, comma, works, what type of join is this? Cross join, right? Now, if I write where employees dot emp name equals to works dot emp name, what type of join is this? What type of join is this now? The one that I have written right now, what type of join is this? Bolo? Nah, this is not natural join. Natural join means if I do not write anything, if I write natural join keyword, then this is natural join. If I write it like this is inner join. Outer join, why? How it is outer join? Outer join means I have to write the keyword outer join. Natural join means I have to write the keyword natural join. I have explained previously. Comma operator with the join condition is inner join. Right? How I will write natural join then? See, inner join means cross join with a criteria and the keyword natural join, both are same, but the keywords are different. These are the questions that will be asked to you. Cross join without any criteria is your normal Cartesian product. So if you write if you write the keyword cross join or you write or you put comma, the thing is same. If you put comma, then you specify a criteria, that also is an inner join. And if you do not write the criteria, if your column names are common, employees and work, the EMP name, the column name is common, right? So you will have, if you have a common column name, then your natural join can happen. So for natural join, you have to write the phrase natural join. Yes, the first one was Cartesian product. So you can make a note and write putting comma, using cross join keyword, all are Cartesian product. Right? Next one, Cartesian product with a criteria. Cartesian product with a criteria is the inner join. Right? If in two tables you have common column name, then you use the natural join keyword and do not specify any other criteria, automatically it will happen natural join. Right? Suppose if I say select star from employees, comma managers. So see, employee name and manager name are becoming haphazard. See here, Ram is mapped to Rahul and Shyam is mapped to Amit. This is natural join. Now see, the Nagesh person is not assigned with a manager. So if I do it like this, sorry, this outer join is not working. The outer join does not work in your MySQL, right? So the criteria for left, you have to practice it in some other place. Wait, I'll show you. This version, I have to again install another file. So right now I cannot do that, but outer join means this sham will be remaining in your output, but dash will come in the manager name place. That was what I was trying to say, but yes, outer join you can use. Always you can use, but outer join is not working here. Maybe the version problem. So I have to include another file for this. Comma with condition is your inner join. Right? Now next one. Next one, write down the problem. First you will try it on yourself and then I will state. Write down the problem. Find all the name of the employees. Write down the problem. Write down the problem. Find the name of the employees who live in the same city, and same street, as their manager do. Who live in the same city and same streets as their manager do. So here we will be using concept of self join, because we have employees and we have managers, right? But the employees themselves can also be managers, right? So managers are what? Nothing but normal employees. So what we will do, we will use here the concept of self join. So first you can try it on yourself. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Try it on yourself and then we will do it here. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. When we can understand outer join happens, outer join, suppose this case, employee and manager. Suppose I want to check for all employees who are the managers. Now see, Nagesh do not have any manager, right? So in that case, Nagesh's data will be present, and in manager place, there will be a blank, like a dash. So in that case, you can use outer join. So if a particular data is required, but that data is not present, when you are mapping with another table, that data is not present. So there you can use the outer join. Okay. Okay, try this manager mapping. Manager to try koro. I'll also show you that how to use your short form of a table, LIS. I will also show you that. Try it. Chesta koro ektu. Try it once. If you are done, just write done in the chat box so that I can see how many of you are done. Anyone who has completed? Anyone who has done? Okay, I'm still waiting for suppose 1 or 2 minutes more. Anyone who has completed? Anyone who has completed the query? Okay, so let me show you the big one. I hope you can see the screen. Now see, first look at the tables. See here, this is my employee table. I have inserted one data because or else empty set was coming. I have inserted that Rahul is one employee who is in Newtown and who is working in Kolkata. Fine. Now, in the manager table, I have already Ram and Rahul mapped. Ram is my employee name and manager name is Rahul. Fine. So I have just done select star from employees and select star from managers. So Ram is in Kolkata, Newtown, Kolkata rather, and Rahul is also in Newtown, Kolkata, and Ram is under Rahul. Rahul is your manager name. So here you can see your employees table is holding the data of employees as well as managers, because managers are also employees, right? And your manager table is doing what? It is doing nothing. That the employee and manager mapping is being done, right? Now see, we will write a query where we will be taking employee as E. Once I will take employee as E. Employee as E means employee as employee itself, and employee as manager, because some employees are managers, like Rahul and Amit are managers. Managers is the table where I will create the link. So these three tables I require. So this is a self join, employee table E and employee table M. So this is LIS type of using of a table. LIS means the short form of the table you are using. And managers is the table where you have the link, that is employee to manager. So what I am taking, I have to find out, check the question. I have to find out that particular employee whose street and city are same as your manager, right? So from here, from the tables itself, you can clearly see that the employee Ram and Rahul, who are mapped as their employee and manager relationship, and Ram is residing in Newtown, Kolkata, and Rahul is also residing in Newtown, Kolkata. And other one is Sham and Amit. Sham is in Junction Road, Pune, and Amit is in Shialda, Kolkata. So they will not be mapped, right? Their city and street are not same. So only Ram and Rahul will be mapped. So what I am writing, select E dot employee name, like E means the employee, original employee table, from these three tables joining, where employee name and managers tables employee name has to be same. So first I am mapping them. This is the link, main link. Second is the criteria. So this is the link of joining. Understand, this is the link of joining. Employee tables employee name and managers tables employee name. Then the employee street, E dot street, is equals to the manager street, right? So employee table, here you can imagine that there is another employee table here who is the manager table, the details of the manager. So same employee cross join employee, right? So E dot street equals to M dot street, and E dot city equals to M dot city. Fine, these two are your checking. And the last is M dot employee name is equals to managers dot manager name. So employee name which is present as the manager name, that employee will only be fetched. So the first condition is employee name I am mapping with this manager's employee name. Fine. So Ram is mapped and Sham is mapped. Fine. Nagesh does not have any manager, so not assigned. Next, Ram's street is mapped to Rahul's street, right? This one, E dot employee name equals to manager dot employee name, then E dot street and manager dot street. Then Ram's Kolkata, that is E dot city, is mapped to Rahul's Kolkata, that is M dot city. Fine. Next, M dot manager name, sorry, M dot employee name, that is another table M that is present. So is this present as your manager name? No. 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 Is this present as your manager name? Yes, because Newtown and Kolkata I have already matched. Amit's data is not matching with Sham. So this is already discarded. But Ram's data with Rahul, this Newtown and Kolkata are already matched with my this street and this city, right? So last criteria is Ram's manager Rahul. That name is present in my employee name and manager name. Yes. So this is my last criteria. Fine. Bit of confusing. You can write the query in your own way. You can change the query, but the fundamental thing will remain same. employee must be considered once as the employee, once as the manager. এটা ভালো করে বুঝবে, this you understand it very well. This you have to understand. Employee, you have to take it once as normal employee, once as manager, because all employees details, like previously when I was not having Rahul Newtown Kolkata in my employee table, the query was giving me empty set because there is no match. Ram's manager is Rahul, but Rahul's data was not present in my employees table, right? So I have inserted it, and after I insert, then I have justified my query that first the Newtown and Kolkata are matched, then Ram's manager is Rahul, that is taken, and lastly Rahul's data is present in the manager table as the manager name or not, that is present, right? So after checking all the three criteria, we can say that yes, Ram is the person whose data is present in your table, same street, same city as the manager does, right? বুঝতে পেরেছো? Is it clear? Is it clear? If you do not practice, it won't be clear ever, but though whatever I am doing, is it clear right now? যেটুকু করছি সেটুকু বুঝতে পারছো? No answers. Is it clear? Employee E and employee M. See, some employees are managers. Please be clear on this. Some employees like Rahul and Amit, these two people are managers defined in the managers table. But Rahul and Amit are also employees. So their data also must be present, where Rahul is working, where Amit is working, or where Amit is staying, right? So this data must be present in the employee table. So I have considered employee as normal employee once as E and manager once as M, right? Done. So this is how more or less you will do the joinings and all. So there are many examples present in books, materials everywhere. I also have found out one copy of very previous day where I have solved many problems. So if you want, you can take those from me and just go through them for practicing. Okay. Managers.employee name. Managers.employee name means Ram and Sham. These two must be present as the employee names, right? So that is what is being mapped. Next, 2-3 small things. First is, see, big subqueries that are present. Big subqueries we will do next day, because today with join and others, if I do again subqueries, it will be a problem. But a very small type of subquery, I am just showing it to you because I have to show you aggregate functions, right? So in subqueries, more or less we use aggregate functions. So suppose the question is like this: I have to find out the employee names whose salary is greater than the average salary, right? So suppose select star from which table is having salary, works, right? Yes. So these are the salaries. So I have to find out the average salary first, and then I have to find out that which employees are having greater than the highest average salary. So select star from works where salary is greater than, in bracket you will write the subquery, that is select AVJ, the keyword for getting average salary. Very simple subquery. So you can see 35, 40, 75, 40. So this is the average salary is around 40. Like if you add 75, then it is around 50 or something. So who is getting greater than that? Only Amit is getting greater than that. Okay. This is a very simple type of subquery. Again, you understand what is the concept of subqueries. The inner query, that is something which is you are writing in brackets. The inner query will be worked at first. So it starts the parsing from the right hand side. Okay, so you are studying compiler also. So everywhere it is starting the compilation, the parsing is done from the right hand side. So first your subquery will be worked on, and then your main query will be worked. Okay. Next one, suppose creating a view. All right. So creating a view, suppose the question is, find out the company that has the smallest payroll. Smallest payroll means minimum salary. Okay, you have to find out the minimum salary, and among the minimum salary, you will be finding out the smallest salary. Okay, so here you have to use the group by and order by. So first let me do the order by. Okay, order by means, order by does what? Order by does the sorting based on some column. It does the sorting. So suppose I do the order by based on the salary so that you can understand. Select employee name, comma salary, salary from works, order by salary. So it will be sorting it, nothing else. So if you write only order by, it is always by default ascending order. So if you write ASC, you will see the same result. But if you write BESC, so if you just keep it vacant, like order by only column name, then by default it is ascending order. Okay, you can see here. So even if you write ASC, the result is same. But if you want it specifically to be in descending order, then you specify DESC. Right? I hope it is clear. This is order by. And what is group by? Group by means grouping of some companies or variables based on some data. Like suppose if there is a data of students and the column is there for gender, male, female, then you can group by based on gender. Right? So suppose I am creating a view and showing you order by, group by also. Create view payroll, company name, comma, small pay. Okay. So these two are suppose my column names in the payroll. Payroll is my view as select company name, comma, minimum salary. Right? From works, group by company. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a view. View means a temporary table or something, 2D structure, that is the payroll. Payroll is a table who is having two columns, company name and small pay. Here you no need to specify the data type, because data type of company name that you are fetching from the works table will be by default. So in the works table, as select star from this. So two columns you are mentioning here, and those two values will be fitted here, grouped by the company name. So suppose TCS is occurring more than once, and TCS's pay is 35,000 and 30,000. So 30,000 is the minimum payroll. So that will be fetched and fitted here. So here it will be TCS, comma 30,000. Okay. So suppose next I write select company name from payroll. So from the view, I want to see what has happened, where small pay is equals to select minimum small pay from payroll. Right? So I want to check that who is paying the least. See here the table, select star from works. See here, TCS is paying 35,000, Infosys is 40,000, Cognizant 75,000, 40,000. So who is the smallest? The TCS, right? So TCS is paying the smallest. So when I'm creating the payroll view, the company name and the minimum salary is being fetched here. So TCS and 35,000 is fetched here. Next, I want to see the company name who is having the small pay where it is minimum. Suppose in my table, I had another row. I had another row where TCS is paying 37,000. So there from 30, when you are creating your payroll, your 37,000 and 35,000 both will come. But when you are again selecting the company name where your small pay is minimum, so only 35,000 will come, and that is TCS. Right? Suppose there is another company, suppose there is PwC who is paying 35,000, 37,000. So who is minimum? The TCS. So TCS will come and it will be showing you in the output. So view is nothing but a temporary structure where for some calculations you keep some data, right? So that is your view, right? Next, suppose substring. Randomly I'm showing you some because everything I cannot show you in a 3 hour of class. So select substring, comma, starting and ending as extracted data, suppose extracted string from employees. Employee okay, so there must not be any space. I done a mistake. Okay, so while you can see, while I am doing, then also I'm getting some of the errors in some of the cases. I'm getting errors, I'm getting an empty set. So everything is not perfect. So while you are doing the practice, your thing is like this. You have to take the data like this so that you don't have an empty set or you don't have an error. So substring employee name 1, 2, 3 means three characters will be fetched, 1, 2, and 3, right? So in books, some books you will find dash, but dash does not work. Okay, and extracted string, this is the name, alias name of the column that is fetched. If you don't give this, then this will come as the employee name. This will come as the column name, right? See, this has come as the column, right? Next, suppose I say select concat. Suppose I want to show EMP name, comma, this is a, comma, role, comma, space in, comma, company name from the table name, obviously. So extra M. So here you can see, sorry, there's a space problem. If you give space, right? So I'm just concatenating strings to make a sentence. So you can do using the concat keyword, right? So again, you can see that pipe operators are present, but pipes does not work well in MySQL. In Oracles, you have pipes. So in other platforms also, you can have pipe operator. Pipe means this one, right? So this is present, but it does not work well in MySQL. So we use concat as your like keyword. Next to small things. This also I have asked in Vivas, the mock interviews, and people are not able to answer. What is the difference between select, if I give select current date, and if I give sys date? See, what is the difference? With the time it is coming, the time stamp, and it is coming, only the date is coming, right? So this is more or less all about SQL. Now let us do a drop and truncate is still there. There is a major difference between drop and truncate. So before that, let us just do a stored procedure. Okay, we have stored procedures also there in the syllabus. So what is a stored procedure? If suppose a query select star from employees, I have to use it again and again, right? So every time if you write select star from employees, it kills time. So what we do, we create a process, write a function like thing, and within that we store your query, and you call that function and the query will be running, right? So how to do that? We use the delimiter keyword, create procedure, suppose hello, any name you can give, begin, select star the query you want, query must be correct, and then end, right? Next, how to run this? Delimiter sorry, right? Okay, again it is not working. I think there's some problem. Just wait for a minute. I'm trying to show you. I have written, but it is not running. Just wait. Wait for a second. I'm just trying to share the screen. Is it visible? Is the screen visible? Am I audible? Not sure. Can anyone just respond whether you can see it? Okay, okay, just wait for a second. Can you see it now? It is showing me not stop share, so I think it is visible. Can you see it now? Yes, yes, okay. Okay. So how to do it? How to do this stored procedure? Yes, okay. Okay, so just let me do it once again. I'm not sure. See here, this is how we are defining. This is how we are defining here. This is your stored procedure declaration. Delimiter space slash slash. This is your front slash. Create your procedure, the name of the procedure, then begin, then your query, whatever query you want to run, then end. Okay. After that, you have to write delimiter. Your MySQL prompt gets back. So you have to write delimiter, but with a space, you have to give this. This is your, with a space, you have to give the semicolon, right? And then call your function. Call hello if you write, then what is inside hello? Select star from employees. So that is coming, right? So if you want to do another one, delimiter create, I don't know what is happening today. Suppose hi, begin, select start from works where company name was to cognizant. Right? Then call. See here, this is how you need to write. Is it clear? Stored procedure, right? Is it clear? So why do we use stored procedure? Like function. If you need to run it again and again, then you can use it, write it within stored procedure and you can use it. Right? There are many things bigger in stored procedure, big SQL queries you can write, but yes, I'm explaining it with a small one because you just need concepts from the class. Rest you will be practicing on your own. Is it clear? হয়েছে বুঝেছো এটা stored procedure how to write? Just you have to remember the syntax, nothing else. Is it clear? I'm not getting any answers. Okay. Okay, so few yes I have got, fine. Now next one is the difference between drop and truncate. Very, very important. Drop and truncate. So let us use truncate table employees. So I have used them enough. So let us suppose I want to delete them. Now there are two ways of deletion. One is drop, one is truncate. So truncate table employees. Now we will see that whether the table exists or not. Describe whether the schema exists. The schema is existing. Right, after you write truncate, the schema is existing. But the data is deleted. So understand, if you write truncate table name, then the schema is existing. The table structure is existing, but the data is getting deleted. You have inserted 4 or 5 rows, those are deleted. Now, if I do drop table name, then table does not exist, right? The table schema does not exist, and if schema is not existing, then obviously the data will also not exist. So understand the difference between drop and truncate. If you are writing drop, That means the table's data along with the schema itself gets deleted. Everything is deleted. If you use truncate, then the structure remains there, but the data is getting deleted. Okay, is it clear? Drop and truncate, very, very important. Right, so more or less these things I had to show different type of joins and different like complex type of queries using self join and so, and like stored procedure, average functions like average, minimum, these things I have shown. Group by, order by I have shown. Drop, truncate I have shown. Delimiter I have shown. What else? The dates, different dates I have shown. The substring extraction I have shown. Concatenation I have shown. So more or less these things are there. Fine. So now we will take a 10 minutes of break. Next I will come back and I will show you the presentation where everything is jotted down in a single place. Okay, so we will just come back at 11:20. Right. So stay in the meeting, don't leave. You can just leave physically and then you just come back after 10 minutes. Okay. So we are taking a break. Thank you.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, so let us just quickly have an overview on what your SQL, from SQL, what exactly you have to learn or remember. Okay, so I'm going through a basic PPT where we have jotted down the points that are required. Fine, mostly I have shown you everything more or less that are required. Again, if you have doubt in any portion, because again I say within a 2 hour 3 hour of class, 3 hour of class is not compact, right? If it is a lecture of 3 hours, you cannot concentrate. So I have to give gap. Again, within this time, stipulated time, covering everything, showing everything is not possible. If you have doubts, please come up with the doubt and please prepare well, because your placements are coming very fast, right? And you have your semester exams in between, so just prepare. Now, in a nutshell, if we look into the different type of SQL commands, then these are the ones that we use. Select, update, delete, insert into, create database, alter database, create table, alter table, drop table, create index, and drop index. Now see, select, update, delete, create, insert, modify, these things you have already seen. Today only I have just elaborated. Now, what about the create index and drop index? Anyone has any idea? What is create index, drop index? Anyone has any idea on index, create index, drop index, what they do? Jano kew, anyone knows? Please answer. What is create index? Na, table create korte lage na. It does not use, not used to create a table. It is used to specify a key in a table. Like primary key we define. I mean, dekhalam ajke today only I have shown you that primary key in bracket, attribute name on names. Likewise, if you write after you define the table schema, after that if you write index and then in bracket 1 or 2 columns, then they are treated as the keys. Okay, they must be not null and they are treated as the keys. Okay, so that is create index and drop index. Now again, drop means deleting everything, where truncate means the data is deleted but the schema remains. Fine. Next is we are starting with creation of database. So create database name. So syntax is given, example is also given for your understanding. Then which databases are being present in your system? So that is show databases are used for that. Then use database, that is if you want to change, suppose you are in employees and you are searching for a student table. So it will state that it will give in you an error that student table does not exist, right? So for that, what you have to do, you have to change your database. Fine. So by using the keyword use, you can change your database. So use database name. Next is dropping a database. So dropping a database means permanently you are deleting everything of that database. You cannot access it further. You cannot insert new set of data, so that you can use this drop database. Next is creating a table. So within a database, when you are present, you can create table by using create table name in bracket, the column names and data types of that particular column. If the data type requires the specification of the length like varchar, then you have to give the length within bracket. If any column has to be not null, you have to specify not space null. If any column or set of columns you have to define it as primary key, then you need to do that within the definition. So these things you need to do in the create table. After creating the table, you can see the schema of the table. Schema means the structure, which are the columns, what are the data types, those things you can see using the describe table name, the describe keyword. You can use describe keyword or you can use DESC space the table name, right? Both you can use. Next, very important, alter table. Now in alter table, you can modify, you can delete, you can add columns, etc. Fine. So in alter table, you can do any type of modification. So the first thing that is given is add column to an existing table. So I have also done that. I have added role in the words table. So that is how you can do the add of columns, right? So here table name you have to give, then add is the keyword, then new column name and column definition, that is the data type. Then first means at the beginning of the table, like suppose attributes ID, name, department, these are present, and you want to store the suppose the phone number, so that you want to store at first, so then you can use the keyword first, right? Or after column name, I have shown you that how to use after. Then the column name which is already present, you will be using after keyword, after which this will be created. So those things are given. An example is also given. Alter table name, any name, then add is the keyword, then age, the type, the data type, which is not null. So if it is given, if this is given like without any position, you can see the position is given in the third bracket, right? So if it is given in the position is not specifying when you are adding that particular column, it will be at last. Okay, so by default it will be at last. Next is suppose a new column addition, suppose multiple columns you need. So by putting comma, so each add new column, suppose column 1, this is suppose column 1, then column definition, then the position. If you do not specify the position, it will be at last. Then suppose the second one, number 2. Okay, and like dot dot. Fine. So this is how you can just specify. Next is the modify. Modifying a particular table. What is the difference between delete and drop? Delete and drop, these are used for different concept, means different situations. Delete is being used when you are trying to delete a row or a column, generally a row with a particular data type, like, or a particular criteria. Fine. But when you are using drop, it is coming under the like data definition language, when you are changing the schema or you are totally deleting the table or one column like that. Right? So delete is nothing but it is a manipulation language where within the table you are changing a particular row or a particular data from a particular cell. But dropping is something where you are working on the definition. right? So definition means a column, a particular total table, these things, right? So different contexts when you are using them. Okay. Next is modifying. Modifying means you want to change the column name or columns data type. So those things you can use, means do using the modify keyword. Okay. So here you can see alter table name, modify the customer surname as Varsha, and it must be not null. Suppose when you are defining your not null criteria was missed, so that you can include by using modifying table name. Next, you can see the drop a particular column, right? So this means you are changing the schema. So this here it defines why it is a data definition language, right? So alter table name, drop column, the name of the column. Okay, suppose you do not require it anymore, so you can delete it. Next, we have renaming of columns. So I have shown you how to rename a table. Table name, I have renamed it from employee to employees. So here you can rename a particular column name also. So you can write it here, alter table name, change column, then the details of the column. Okay, the old name space the new name, right? Suppose customer surname has to be updated to customer title, right? So there you can do it using the change column. Okay, the keyword is change column. And what is rename? Rename means the table renaming you can do. Okay. Next one again, if you want to drop a table and if you want to delete a table, means totally erasing it from your database, then these two are your commands. Update tables you will use in many instances. In which one you are trying to ask? Just specify that. When we use update table, by using update table, you can also change the like type of a row, or you can drop a particular column, delete a particular column. Not only updation obviously you can do, but along with that, those things also you can do. Like see here, you can use the alter table to do anything, but when you are using the update column, there you can use only your changing of any data, right? So by update any column or the columns data, means you cannot delete that. You can do the modification or you can do the changing, but you cannot delete, right? Alter and update, difference between alter and update. So you can note these things. The difference between drop and truncate, difference between delete and drop that you have asked, the difference between the update and alter, right? Is there any difference between truncate and drop? Yes, there is a difference. Obviously, there is a difference. See, when you are using alter, you will be using change, modify, these type of keywords, like to change or drop, these type of things. When you are using update, you will be using the keyword set, update column name, where some condition, set the data as your new data, right? So it is modification. And drop and truncate, what is the difference? Truncate means, I have shown also, maybe you are not present. So truncate means if you write truncate table name, then the schema of the table will be present, the structure will be present, only the data rows will be deleted. If you use drop, then the data along with the schema, everything will be deleted, right? So that is drop and truncate. Next, you have view. I have already demonstrated you using the payroll system. What is a view? View is a temporary 2D structure of rows and columns where selective columns from a particular table is being taken based on some where condition. Suppose some like the payroll I have done, I have taken the minimum salary, right? So here also suppose some of the criteria, if there is no criteria, then suppose only create view, the name of the view as select the column names from a particular table. So all columns will be given, right? Then you can just write select start from the trainer, that is the name of the view, right? So this is how you need to create. And after you create, this is how you need to check, right? So where condition, you can see from the table where condition. Suppose I say the students who have got a marks lesser than 75. So I want them to be in my view, right? So the condition will be that the marks is less than 75, right? Next one, updation of the view. So updation of the view, we use alter view name, like we have used alter table name. So alter view name as select this from your main table, that is the courses table. And also you can drop when your view is not required, you can drop. Like, so truncating a view does not make any sense because views we are using for some temporary work. So if the work is done, you can just drop, right? Now some of the MySQL queries are given, like very simple queries. So here you can see, here everything is more or less known to you because I have shown only this one. See, update query I have not shown you. I have shown you only alter query. So see here, update customers, set customer name as Bob and city as London, where the ID is 101. Okay, so this is how you can change your data, modify your data already present in the table, right? So using update, you can do this. Fine. Next, where clause. So another thing is present, the difference between where and having clause. In SQL, what is the difference between where and having clause, right? So what is the where clause? Where clause is wherever you require a predicate, means some conditions which will be checked and then only the output will be given. So there you can use the where clause. Okay. And what is the having clause? Having clause is, suppose an example, having clause is generally used for group by conditions, or like having clause can only be used with a select statement, like a subquery. If you have, then you can use the having clause. Fine. So subqueries more or less we have not done today. So just an example, suppose I want to group by age of students whose roll numbers are like greater than 1, or suppose greater than 10. 1 does not make any sense, greater than 10. So suppose the age range of the student is 19 to 50, right? 19 to 50 is the age range. So it will be grouped by with the age. Suppose 19 is a group, 20 is a group of students, like that. And likewise, the having clause will say having count bracket roll number greater than 1. So when we are using aggregate functions, group by functions, when we are using subqueries, there we cannot use where clause more than once. So there we can use the having clause. Okay, very, very important question. when we will use the having clause and when we will use the where clause. Okay. Next, the distinct clause. Distinct means, suppose there is a student table. Many students are residing in Kolkata. But suppose suppose Kolkata is there, Chennai is there, Bangalore, Pune, these things are there, but they are having repetitions. Suppose I want that from which cities do I have students present in my table, right? So in that case, how I will write? If I write select city from students, then Kolkata will appear more than once. I don't require that. I require Kolkata only once. That Kolkata is a city from where I have students. So there I will write select distinct in brackets city from student table. And if you have where clause, then you will write that where clause. Suppose I want to see the cities where students are getting more than 90%. Right? So there you can use the distinct clause. Yes, having clause I'm explaining. Having clause means when you have subqueries, you have aggregate functions. Within the subquery, suppose you are using group by and then you are using a subquery. In those cases where condition already you have used, you cannot use it in conjunction with another subquery, right? In that place, we have to use the having clause. Okay. Now you see few of the aggregate functions. Count. Count means the total. Means not the total. It means that how many occurrences are present. Right? That is count. Suppose 15. 15 is the age of a student. Suppose I have 20 as my age of the students mostly. So how many times 20 is occurring? That I can do using count. Count in bracket age. Right? Next is sum. Suppose I want that in my department, CSE, what is the maximum fees I'm supposed to get? So sum of the fees of all students, that is my maximum fees. So sum. Average. Suppose average salary of employees in CSE department. That is AVJ bracket salary. Okay. Next, mean and max. What is the minimum salary? What is the maximum salary? So mean in bracket salary, max in bracket salary. Right? Next is the first function. First function means, suppose I say that in my table I have the salary of the employees. Now I want that highest paid employee details, right? Highest paid employee details. So I have already shown you that by order by I can sort my data, right? So if I want highest, then I will do the descending order sorting. And after that, if I write limit 1, that means the first row that is coming in, that will be displayed. So if I write select employee name from employee table, order by salary, limit 1. Order by salary, limit 1. That means the highest paid employee will come at the first row after order by, and limit 1 means that the first row will only be displayed. Right? So like that, you can do, suppose two highest paid employees. So limit 2. Suppose I want the rank holder students who are within the first 5 ranks. Right? So that will be your limit 5. Okay. So this is the limit function of first function. Fine. Then order by. Order by I was discussing that select anything from your table. Order by. If you just write order by the column name and do not specify anything, just put semicolon, then by default it is ascending order sorting. Now, if it is a salary or integer field, then the sorting is fine. If it is a character field, then alphabetically it will be sorted based on the ASCIIs and other. Okay. By default, it is ascending. If you want to make it descending, then you have to write DESC specifically. Okay. Next is group by. So as I have given you the example, suppose there is a student table and you have male, female students. So if you write group by gender, then it will be showing you, suppose female is, suppose 30 students are female and 35 students are suppose male. So that count will be shown to you. Okay. Now see few examples of group by and order by are given. Okay. So I hope you just go through them once. I hope there is no problem. There must not be any problem. Okay. Next is the foreign key constraint. Any attribute, if I want to have it in your foreign key of other table, then it must be the primary key of original table. So here see the person table and the order table, right? So the person ID, here it is the person ID. So person ID in the person table is the primary key because it is not repeating itself. But one person can make more than one order, right? One person can make more than one order. That means what? In your order table, it can appear more than once. In your order table, it can appear more than once. So person ID is the foreign key here, right? So this is the constraint to be a foreign key. So how you can define, there are different ways of defining. By foreign key in bracket, the name of the the name of the attribute. See, it is creating in the orders table. Foreign key is defining in the orders table, right? And also you can write constraint FK, foreign key, person order. Person order means the name of the tables. Person is a table, order is a table. So this is the name of the table by which you are defining the foreign key. This is the foreign key name. This name is the foreign key name, right? And what is your foreign key? The person ID. References to the person ID of your person, right? Is it clear? So after you define your table, always it is not that when you are defining the table, you have to define the foreign key. You can define the foreign key afterwards also. So afterwards, when you define how to define it, alter table name, add constraint foreign key, and then it is referencing to which table. Okay. Next is like clause. Oh, sorry, I have missed this today. I will try to show you next day. Like clause means, suppose you want to find an type of match. Suppose you want to see that which particular employee names are present which are starting with S. Which particular employee names are present which is starting with S. So what you will write? Suppose you want that your employee name must be Sanjay. So you can directly write it exact match. But suppose you want that whichever employee's name are starting with S, I want everyone. So what you will do? You will use the like clause. And how you will write? S then percentage. There are two ways of writing. One is percentage, one is dash. If I write percentage, that means from 0 to infinite, any number of characters must be present. So it can be Sanjay, it can be Sunil, it can be Sri Madhavan, it can be anything. Like it can be sun, it can be solar, it can be anything. But if I write S dash underscore, then only one character can be fitted there. Suppose SN, SY, SM, SW, these things will be present. Right? So how to do the character matching? Character matching can be done in two ways. One is the multiple character matching, that is percentage, and one is the single character matching, that is underscore. Okay? See the examples. This is your percentage. And if you write it SE then underscore, then it is capable of allocating only one character. Right? So this is like any character, after that anything. So name starts with A. First name starting with alphabet A. First name ending with alphabets O and N. Right? Examples. Suppose in between anywhere you can have ON. Right? So before ON anything can happen, 0 to infinite. After ON anything can happen, 0 to infinite. Right? Next is suppose Tom. So only one character between T and M. This is very likely to have questions. Again, you have not like. So suppose you want to find out employees whose names are not starting with B. Whose names are not starting with B. So you will use not like. Okay. Next, concatenation. I have already told you. I have also, this is just a concatenation like everything is given here only, but I have shown you that columns will be concatenated. How that I have shown. So here you can see. See here, concatenation address, then a space, then postal code, then a space, then city. So customer name along with the concatenated address. Alternate way of concatenation, but this generally does not work in my. If this, we use the concat keyword. Okay. Next, converting a particular string to uppercase and lowercase. So we can use the keywords upper and lower. So upper in bracket, if you write some direct name, direct converted ones, so that you can also do, or else you can use the attribute name from a table. That also you can do. Okay. Similar for lower also. Lower means it will convert the string to lowercase. Okay. Then you have the in string. In string means suppose a total string is given and within that you have to extract something. So substring also you can use and in string also you can use. The difference of your in string and your substring is in your in string whether the string that you want to match, whether it is present or not in a particular position will be shown. And in substring, the extracted value will be shown. Okay, so in string and substring, in substring the extracted value will be shown, and in string if it is matching or not, that will be shown. Okay, next you see the SQRT, some mathematical functions. SQRT, the seal value means the sealing value. Power means 3 to the power 2. Round means it will be rounded off, not truncated. Round and truncate, there is a difference. If you write truncate, the value, suppose you write this value comma 2, that means after 2 it will be truncated. That means it will be just deleted. And if it is round, then if it is 2, then the third position, based on the third position, if it is greater than equals to 5, then the second position will be +1 and the others will be dropped off. Okay. Then you have average, count, exponential, mod value, and modular value, then current date, etc. Then you can find out the timestamp difference. These are present as your inbuilt functions that you can use. Sale means the ceiling value. See, there are two type of values. One is ceiling value and one is the floor value. Ceiling value and floor value. Ceiling value means the top value. That is, if it is rounded, then the like nearest integer value, it will be converted to nearest integer value, the next nearest, highest nearest integer. And floor value means the lowest minimum value, it will be converted to. So ceiling and floor. Okay. So here there are the months, the month between, timestamp between. So these things are not much required. This is your last day round off. Again, I'm not explaining. These are pretty, yeah. So round and truncate, you can see the difference between round and truncate. So here, as it is taking up to 2 values after your decimal. So based on this should be 9. The before and value should be 9, right? If it is rounded, but as it is truncated, the values are just trunked off. -2 if you use, it cannot determine, so the value will become 0. Right? So on date again, if you use date, then the upper date and the lower date will be fixed. And the case statement you generally do not require, but if you require, this is like switch case. So based on a condition, some results will be given to you. That is your case statement. Okay. So case statement is like if else. So when based on when conditions, some results will be there. So it's like a function, a case. Fine. So yes, I will share the PPT. I'm sharing it right away. Can I? Okay, so that's all for today. I'm not going into more because that will again overburden you. Okay, so one thing that I was going through, that is, if you means when I'm in the class, then fine, some people are asking doubts and some are not asking doubts, that are okay. But after the class, do you even practice anything? Means I'm not getting any doubts from any students that I have practiced this and I have faced this problem. So I do not get anything, any kind of like just nothing. So I'm not sure. And again, when I'm asking questions in the PPT interview, the mock interviews, again, you are not able to say anything. So I think it will create a bit of problem. Right. So please practice well, and kindly, like if you have any problem, then just ask me. Okay. Okay. So I'm sharing the PPT. I'm sharing it right away because again, just wait. Okay, so I have shared the PPT. Today's PPT is very much required, so I have just shared it in your recruitment group so that you can just refer from it. I hope that's okay. Some students are giving attendance every now and then. Please let me tell you, these will not affect your attendance. If you are in the class, your attendance will matter, and your attendance will be checked only once. right? Not like this. If you give attendance for 5 times, do not ask, means do not expect that that will be considered. Again, I say that please go through the things, please study well, please practice, please come up with problems, right? So that I can solve it, so that it will be helpful for you. Because when I am asking questions in the mock interview, the basic questions you are not able to answer, right? DBMS, you are, means you have the requirement. Fine. So that's it for today. So next class we will do a bit of more on DBMS, and then we will proceed towards the last portion, that is the transaction. Okay. And let us see whether we have time for our indexing hashing, or else that will be already covered, that must be already covered in your data structures. We can take a reference from there. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much. See you in the next class. I'm ending it here. Thank you.